haven't noticed, he's not here. And I know I would drag him here myself, but it turns out the President of the United States is the one you're not allowed to grab. I did have a lot of jokes about cabinet members, but I had to scrap all of those because everyone has been fired. You guys are going through cabinet members quicker than Starbucks throws out black people. Now, I know people really want me to go after Trump tonight, but I think we should give the president credit when he deserves it. Like, he pulled out of the Paris Agreement, and I think he should get credit for that because he said he was going to pull out, and then he did, and that's a refreshing quality in a man. Trump is racist, though. He loves white nationalists, which is a weird term for a Nazi. Calling a Nazi a white nationalist is like calling a pedophile a kid friend. Or Harvey Weinstein a ladies' man. Which isn't really fair. He also likes plants. Mike Pence is the kind of guy that brushes his teeth and then drinks orange juice and thinks, Paul Ryan also couldn't make it. Of course, he's already been circumcised. Unfortunately, while they were down there, they also took his balls. Now, Republicans are easy to make fun of. You know, it's like shooting fish in a Chris Christie. But I also want to make fun of Democrats. Democrats are harder to make fun of because you guys don't do anything. People think you might flip the House and Senate this November, but you guys always find a way to mess it up. You're somehow going to lose by 12 points to a guy named Jeff Pedophile Nazi Doctor. Oh, he's a doctor. There's also, of course, Ivanka. She was supposed to be an advocate for women, but it turns out she's about as helpful to women as an empty box of tampons. She's done nothing to satisfy women. So I guess, like father, like daughter. But he has helped you. He's helped you sell your papers and your books and your TV. You helped create this monster, and now you're profiting off of him. And if you're gonna profit off of Trump, you should at least give him some money because he doesn't have any. Trump is so broke, he grabs pussies because he thinks there might be loose change in them. All right, like an immigrant who was brought here by his parents and didn't do anything wrong. I gotta get the fuck out of here. Good night.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks for keeping that applause going all the way, too. I appreciate that. Oh, welcome to Negro Night here at Washington. Or as Fox News will report, 2 thugs disrupt elegant dinner in D.C. Nice to be here, though, at the White House Correspondents Dinner, or as you know they're going to call it next year, Donald Trump presents a luxurious evening paid for by Mexico. But I have to say, it's great. It looks like you're really enjoying your last year of the presidency. Saw you hanging out with NBA players like Steph Curry, Golden State Warriors. That was cool, yeah. You know, it kind of makes sense, too, because both of you like raining down bombs on people from long distances, right? That's true. What? Am I wrong? What? Speaking of drones, how is Wolf Blitzer still on television? Ask a follow-up question. Good. Hey, Wolf, I'm ready to project tonight's winner. Anyone that isn't watching The Situation Room. I'm just kidding. Shout out to the print media. No, really, you have to shout. They're like all over 70 now. You have to. So the follow-up was nice, wasn't it? Oh, by the way, you guys, Black Lives Matter is here tonight. I'm just kidding. Relax, white people. They're not here. It's just a joke. Just relax. Just relax. Will Smith is here from the upcoming movie Suicide Squad. Yeah. Big Will fan. By the way, not to be confused with the new Jeb Bush documentary, Suicide Watch. C-SPAN, of course, is carrying tonight's dinner live. Yeah. Which is ironic because most of their viewers aren't. It's true, guys. C-SPAN is the #1 network among people who died watching TV, and no one's found them yet. But it is good to be on C-SPAN. Glad I'm not on your rival network, No Input, HDMI 1. MSNBC? MSNBC here tonight? No? Which actually now stands for missing a significant number of black correspondents. MSNBC got rid of so many black people. I thought Boko Haram was running that network. What was going on? Lots of big news this year. The Treasury promised to put Harriet Tubman's face on the $10 bill, but now we have to wait until 2030 for the $20 bill. Yeah, man, women haven't been this deceived by a bill since Cosby.
All right, everybody, here we go. I am the last person standing between you and your after party. So in just an hour and 15 minutes, you'll be walking out of here, all right? Good evening, Mr. President, or as Paul Ryan refers to you, yet another inner city minority relying on the federal government to feed and house your family. I'm a big fan of President Obama. I think he's one of the all-time great presidents, definitely in the top 50. Please explain that to Jessica Simpson. You're right, that was low. My favorite bit of yours was when you said you'd close the detention facility at Guantanamo Bay. That was a classic. That was hilarious, hilarious. Still going. I'd also like to thank the White House Correspondents Association for having me and for not being able to book Jimmy Fallon. That's true. All right, I know it's been a long night, but I promise that tonight will be both amusing and over quickly, just like Chris Christie's presidential bid. I got a lot of these tonight, so buckle up, Governor Christie. Excuse me, extender buckle up. All right. No, I deserve that. I agree on that one. That you're right on. To Republicans in attendance, E is the channel that your deeply closeted gay son likes to watch. Democrats, it's the same channel that your happy, openly gay son likes to watch. E is also home to the Kardashians, who, believe it or not, are Republicans. And I know that because they're always trying to screw black people. C-SPAN is like one of those paranormal activity movies. It's just grainy shots of empty rooms interrupted by images of people you're pretty sure died a few years ago. Oh, and stay tuned after the Correspondents' Dinner for an all-new episode of C-SPAN's hit show, So You Think You Can Remain Conscious. Now, America is truly a land of diversity. Only here would you find a black president, a soon-to-be Hispanic majority, and all 19 nationalities contained within Ariana Huffington's accent. Ted Cruz proposed a government shutdown to protest the Affordable Care Act, and everyone else in Congress decided to go along with it simply to get some time away from Ted Cruz. The Vice President isn't here tonight, not for security reasons. He just thought this event was being held at the Dulles Airport Applebee's. Yes, right now, Joe is elbow deep in jalapeno poppers and talking to a construction cone he thinks is John Boehner. It's crazy to think that Joe Biden is only one heartbeat away from no one taking him seriously as president. Hillary's daughter Chelsea is pregnant, which means in 9 months, we will officially have a sequel to Bad Grandpa. When the baby is born, do you give Bill Clinton a cigar? You guys sound like you're on a roller coaster right now. People are asking, will Donald Trump run again? And the answer is, does that thing on his head crap in the woods? Julia Pearson, the new director of the Secret Service, is here tonight. Yeah. Under her leadership, Secret Service agents no longer consort with prostitutes thanks to their new Too Drunk to Make It to the Brothel program. And CNN is desperately searching for something they've been missing for months, their dignity. At this point, CNN is like the Radio Shack in a sad strip mall. You don't know how it stayed in business this long, you don't know anyone that shops there, and they just fired Piers Morgan.
Every time I tune into C-SPAN, it looks like they just had a fire drill. C-SPAN is one unpaid electric bill away from being a radio station. And the Huffington Post party is asking people to go to other parties first and just steal food and drinks and bring it from there. Don't get me wrong, I love Arianna Huffington, especially her voice. She sounds like a woman who would be sitting up in bed with a sheet wrapped around her as James Bond is walking out the door. Will I see you again, James? Katie is just one of the many departures we've seen this year. NPR fired Juan Williams after he said Muslims make him nervous. So Juan is black and afraid of Muslims, making him the least likely man to get a cab in New York City. Not everyone's leaving. My friend Anderson Cooper is still over at CNN, and I especially love watching him report from the field. You can always tell how much danger Anderson Cooper is in by how tight his clothing is. If he's in the bulky yellow slicker, then it's a hurricane that's still offshore. If he's in the khaki vest, he's maybe in the green zone in Baghdad. But when he's in the child-sized white t-shirt, bullets are flying, he's getting punched, he's pulling kittens out of the rubble. So what I'm saying is, if you ever see Anderson Cooper with his shirt off, turn off your television and run. Donald Trump has been saying that he will run for president as a Republican, which is surprising since I just assumed he was running as a joke. Donald Trump often appears on Fox, which is ironic because a fox often appears on Donald Trump's head. If you're at the Washington Post table with Trump and you can't finish your entree, don't worry, the fox will eat it. Gary Busey said recently that Donald Trump would make a great president. Of course, he said the same thing about an old rusty birdcage he found. Donald Trump owns the Miss USA pageant, which is great for Republicans because it will streamline their search for a vice president. Donald Trump said recently he has a great relationship with the blacks, though unless the blacks are a family of white people, I bet he's mistaken. Now you, on the other hand, Mr. President, have aged a little. What happened to you? When you were sworn in, you looked like the guy from the Old Spice commercials. Now you look like Louis Gossett Sr. I've never said this to anyone before, but maybe you should start smoking again. Is this the change you were talking about? Mr. President, look at your hair. If your hair gets any whiter, the Tea Party is going to endorse it. I imagine having Joe Biden as vice president is kind of like taking your blue-collar dad to a fancy restaurant. He's more comfortable at the Olive Garden. He talks a little too loud, he mispronounces the sauces, and you're always tempted to lean over to the waiter and say, "I'm sorry about him, he's from Scranton." I noticed that his approach to the budget led many to praise Paul Ryan as a serious adult. And I have to say, nothing is more depressing about politics than the fact that adult is now a compliment. Adult is only a compliment to a child. I'm so proud of you. You acted like an adult tonight. I'm glad I brought you to my boss's house for dinner. You even cut your own meat like a big boy. Also, Congress, there are a lot of things you want us to be impressed by that we are not impressed by. We are not impressed that you sat next to each other at the State of the Union. You know what the rest of Americans call an evening spent politely sitting next to a person with wildly different political views? Thanksgiving. Well, I should wrap it up. I'm getting the red light. Not the red light that signals I'm out of time, but the red light that signals the C-SPAN handycam is running low on batteries. I want to thank all of the journalists here tonight. I couldn't do my job if you didn't do yours. And it's fitting that this event happened on the same weekend as the royal wedding, because as I was watching the festivities, I couldn't help thinking how wonderful it is to live in a country where people don't wear hats like that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hassan Minhaj.
My name is Hassan Minhaj, or as I'll be known in a few weeks, number 830287. Now, I see some of you whispering to each other, what is Comedy Central? It's basically an internship for Netflix. I'd like to thank Jeff Mason and the White House Correspondents Association for having me. I would say it is an honor to be here, but that would be an alternative fact. It is not. No one wanted to do this. So of course, it lands in the hands of an immigrant. It's how it always goes down. R.I.P. to Don Rickles, the only Donald with skin thick enough to take a joke like that. R.I.P. to the legend. I'm sorry. That's my only Trump joke. I was explicitly told not to go after the administration. I promise you, that's my only Trump joke.
You were not told that.
Believe me. Every time a USA Today slides underneath my door, it's like they're saying, hey, you're not that smart, right? USA Today is what happens when the coupon section takes over the newspaper. Like, what, is this an article about global warming or 50 cents off Tide? Either way, the pictures are so pretty. You guys are all here tonight to honor a great American tradition because we all know this administration loves deleting history faster than Anthony Weiner when he hears footsteps. So thank you for being here. We gotta address the elephant that's not in the room. The leader of our country is not here. And that's because he lives in Moscow. It is a very long flight. It'd be hard for Vlad to make it. Vlad can't just make it on a Saturday. It's a Saturday. As for the other guy, I think he's in Pennsylvania because he can't take a joke. For the 9 people watching on C-SPAN, there also was another elephant in the room, but Donald Trump Jr. shot it and cut off its tail. You know, a lot of people told me, Hassan, if you go after the administration, it would be petty, unfair, and childish. In other words, presidential. So here we go. I get why Donald Trump didn't want to be roasted tonight. By the looks of him, he's been roasting nonstop for the past 70 years. Historically, the president usually performs at the Correspondents Dinner, but I think I speak for all of us when I say he's done far too much bombing this month. Now, a lot of people in the media say that Donald Trump goes golfing too much. You guys are always like, he goes golfing too much, which raises a very important question. Why do you care? Do you want to know what he's not doing when he's golfing? Being president. Let the man putt-putt. Keep him distracted. Teach him how to play badminton. Tell him he has a great body for bobsledding. Play him tic-tac-toe. The longer you keep him distracted, the longer we're not at war with North Korea. Every time Donald Trump goes golfing, the headline should read, Trump golfing, apocalypse delayed, take the W. I love that everybody's drinking, having a good time. This is beautiful. You know Donald Trump doesn't drink, right? Does not touch alcohol, which is oddly respectable. But think about that. That means every statement, every interview, every tweet, completely sober. How is that possible? We've all had that excuse, haven't we? Be like, I said what? No, listen, babe, I swear to you, I was hammered. That's not who I really am. What does Donald Trump tell Melania? Listen, babe, last year on that bus with Billy Bush, that's exactly who I am. He tweets at 3 a.m. sober. Who is tweeting at 3 a.m. sober? Donald Trump, because it's 10 a.m. in Russia. Those are business hours. Now, it's not just the president who decided not to show up. His entire administration is not here. Betsy DeVos couldn't be here. She's busy curating her collection of children's tears. A lot of people think Betsy DeVos is out of touch with working class America, but you listen to me and you listen to me right now, okay? Every morning, Betsy DeVos is up at 5 a.m. putting her children on their flight to school. So don't you tell me she's out of touch, okay? Now, a lot of people think Steve Bannon is the reason Donald Trump dog whistles to racists. And that is just not true. Ask Steve Bannon. Is Steve Bannon here? I do not see Steve Bannon. I do not see Steve Bannon. Not see Steve Bannon. Not see Steve Bannon. Not see Steve Bannon. Jeff Sessions couldn't be here tonight. He was busy doing a pre-Civil War reenactment. On his RSVP, he just wrote no, just no, which happens to be his second favorite N-word. Now's the time to be a liar, and Donald Trump is liar in chief. And remember, you guys are public enemy number one. You are his biggest enemy. Journalists, ISIS, normal length ties. And somehow, you're the bad guys. Sean Spicer gives press briefings like someone is going through his browser history while he watches. Just panic, like, no, wait, stop it, stop it, stop it, stop shaking your head, stop shaking your head, stop shaking your head. We'll talk about this tomorrow. It is the best. Now, you guys are laughing, but realize Sean Spicer's been doing PR since 1999. He has been doing his job for 18 years, and somehow, after 18 years, his go-to move when you ask him a tough question is denying the Holocaust. That is insane. How many people do you know that can turn a press briefing into a full-on Mel Gibson traffic stop? Only the Spice Man. Only the Spice Man. Because this event is about celebrating the First Amendment and free speech. Free speech is the foundation of an open and liberal democracy. From college campuses to the White House. Only in America can a first-generation Indian American Muslim kid get on this stage and make fun of the president. The orange man behind the Muslim ban. And it's a sign to the rest of the world. It's this amazing tradition that shows the entire world that even the president is not beyond the reach of the First Amendment. But the president didn't show up because Donald Trump doesn't care about free speech. The man who tweets everything that enters his head refuses to acknowledge the amendment that allows him to do it. Think about it. It's almost, what is it, 11? It's 11 p.m. right now. In 4 hours, Donald Trump will be tweeting about how bad Nicki Minaj bombed at this dinner. And he'll be doing it completely sober. And that's his right. And I'm proud that all of us are here tonight to defend that right, even if the man in the White House never would. So I'd like to thank the White House Correspondents Association for having me here. I want to thank all of you. I want to thank Woodward and Bernstein for inspiring a generation of journalists. And I would like to thank Donald Trump for inspiring the next. Thank you so much. It's been an honor. Good night. I love you. Thank you.